All right, today on Meet the Coach, we've got Luke Carrezola. He is the defensive graduate assistant at UConn. Luke, thank you for joining me here. I'm Pat Curran, one of the co-founders, as you know, but anyone who's watching for the first time. But I appreciate you jumping on with us.
No doubt. I appreciate you having me.
Of course. We had you. You came on for one of our first GA Talk sessions. Probably like 2 or 3 months ago now.
Yeah.
And you did a great, phenomenal job. Loved it. One of the things we wanted to create around our coaching network is different opportunities, and GA Talks was one of my first ones. Like, I was a GA. I would not have done well at this, by the way, in my time. Just wasn't great at speaking in that capacity. But we wanted to create opportunities for more GAs. So I'm glad you were able to jump on, and hopefully it helps in the future when you're ready to move on.
No doubt. I think doing it, I look back at it and just like you grade tape, I was grading myself. Good. Doing it. I was like, oh man, like, sometimes I was speaking too fast. Sometimes there's things I wanted to address that you didn't address, but that's the point of it. And I just try to take it as something that I grow from. And, it was an awesome opportunity to do. And I'd advise anyone to do it that's in the coaching game for sure.
Yeah. And that's smart for you to go back and watch it. We had RJ Melton from Hardin Simmons on Monday, and he did a really good job. And I said, there's a couple things you'll watch back and see that maybe you could have improved. And I didn't know this. It was his first time he ever clinicked. He's like, I was, I don't think he said nervous, but anxious was, I think, the word he used. And I said, it didn't even come across. Like that part of it didn't come across. There were some things I thought he could improve upon, although I thought like he was like a solid A if I had to grade him on a A at the ref scale. But going back and watching it, this is how you're going to interview 2021 plus, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us about how did you get here? I know you played. Now take us through being a player to now being where you are now.
Gotcha. Yep. So it started off at Neshaminy High School, right outside the Philadelphia area. Played for a really great program there with Coach Mark Schmidt was our head coach, and he's in the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame for coaches. And from there I was able to, get to UConn, and it's actually pretty funny. I, originally committed to Coach Paul Pasqualoni, but by the time I got there, I was playing for Coach Diaco and then Bob Diaco. And then by my last year, I was playing for Coach Randy Etzel, who's here now. So I had my career there. Then after that, I was able to continue to play and go to 2 NFL rookie mini camps, one with the Kansas City Chiefs and then one with the team formerly known as the Washington Redskins, now the Washington football team. And then, so after that, I just didn't stick, unfortunately, there. So came back to my high school, who I had a great relationship with, and got into coaching, was able to coach the defensive line there. And
did you know you wanted to coach? Like, was that like, hey, I'm going to coach at some point? Is that in your head?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I mean, obviously as a player, I wanted to play as long as I could, as far as I could go. But at the same time, I was in the back of my head, I kind of knew I would talk to the GAs at UConn at the time, who are now coaches at other places, and be like, hey, like, when I'm done, I'm coming into the coaching game, and that's only helped me set me up for hopefully future success. So, I mean, it's been awesome to have those relationships and kind of in the back of my head know that I was, this is what I wanted to do with my life. But, yeah, so since there, I came back, coached the defensive line in high school, then played in the Alliance of American Football League out in Salt Lake, had a bunch of fun, made some great connections with some great players and coaches out there. Played for Coach Dennis Erickson, obviously a legend, yeah, and it was a great experience. I loved playing for him, and as well as a whole bunch of other coaches. Then so it collapsed, obviously, and you come into the hotel room, they call a team meeting, and they tell you, it's over, and you got a night here at the hotel, and then you got to find a flight home. So had to fly from Salt Lake to Philadelphia. So I was able to stay at a buddy's house for a couple of days and
did you have to find a flight? Like, did they pay for it or you pay for it?
Oh, no. We found our flight. Find our own flight. So, but no, I loved every second of playing in that league, though. I mean, it was awesome. It's just a shame how it ended, really. But I was able to stay at a buddy's, and then as I'm at my buddy's house, I look on the scoop and I see, oh, UConn's looking for a defensive graduate assistant, and obviously it kind of just felt, the timing, you couldn't really add up better in my eyes, because I felt like I was ready to move on from playing the game, and I always wanted to coach. So I mean, I just felt like it was a perfect match. So So I called up some people here. Coach Etzel I was really fortunate enough to have him, bring me back into the program and be able to work with, right now I work with Coach Dennis Carter, who's the defensive line coach here, who was my defensive line coach my senior year. We have a great relationship. So ever since then, I've been able to, I've been really fortunate to say the least, to be able to be around the people that I'm around.
Yeah, that's awesome. A lot of times coaches know they want to coach, and a lot of coaches just kind of fall into it. Seems like you kind of knew it, but then also you fell into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I kind of knew in the back of my head, but the player in me was just like, you got to keep, I've always been a grinder. So it was always like, you got to keep pushing, you got to keep going, So, but I definitely knew in the back of my head that when it was over, this is what I wanted to do with my life.
Sure. Who would you say has been the most influential coach you've had throughout your career? Doesn't even necessarily have to be a football coach, I guess, but coach.
Yeah.
And why?
Man, that's tough. That's tough. Because there's a lot of names that come to mind when you think of that. But man, I'm gonna go with Coach Vincent Brown. Right now he's the William & Mary defensive coordinator. He was my linebackers coach for 3 years. We had a really good relationship, and he's just a great man, and the way he goes about his business and is something that I always look as an inspiration in my game and in how I wanted to coach and really how I wanted to live life. And he's done nothing but help me. We still have a good relationship today. So he's definitely one of the names of several names that pop to mind.
Sure. When you think about, so you're a GA, right? So you don't have your own group, you don't have your own team, you don't have your own side of the ball, or obviously not a head coach yet. Where do you see yourself as far as like a philosophy around what you want to build in the future? And you as a coach, like every coach you've been around, you've probably taken some things that you liked and some things you didn't like. I like that from that guy. I'll never be that guy. Like, how do you see yourself evolving as a coach and mindset and philosophy around like how you would create your own atmosphere and team?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you kind of nailed it on the head there. Obviously, I'm the guy that's going to do, no job too big, no job too small. So if it's stacking the coffee cups in the morning, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? But I try to get from everyone that's around me. I try to find something, whether it's a wide receiver coach, whether it's a quarterbacks coach, recruiting coordinator. I try to pick up something to add to my portfolio of what I want to be as a coach. But with coaching the defensive line, and really a lot of this is not coming from, but I've built this through Coach Dennis Carter, our defensive line coach, is, I really see that with the defensive line, I think it's a little bit different. You really have to, build a strong culture in that room of a brotherhood. At the end of the day, you're going to put your hand down in the dirt for someone next to you. We're not saying that you have to love that. It's not lovey-dovey. You don't have to love that person. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to look him out and, tell him that you got his back at the end of the day to get the job done. Because, that's what we're here to do. And that's something that I think is very important in any defensive line room, to keep the room together at all times and just be able to build that bond with those players. Because really, to me, the more that I invest into them as not just players, but people and students, the only bigger return I'm going to get from them. And that's how you build real authentic relationships. And that's what I'm about. So, the more that we can kind of grow on that brotherhood, then I think the better we're going to be. And then from there, really just try to take time to develop each and every single individual player while still maintaining raise the standards of the group. I think is huge, because as you're developing guys and bringing guys in, you don't want to treat them as people that are just going through a system. You want to give them that personal, this is your plan for success. Let me help build your plan for success of what you want to do with your life and your goals. So that's what I'm here for, man. I love coaching the guys around me and spending time with them. And I just try to consistently be the same guy every day with my energy and how I, approach coaching and the game itself.
Yeah. What would you say is like something that stuck with you as a player that now you take and use it every day or frequently as a coach? Like something either line somebody said or a mantra behind how you should coach?
Yeah. It's interesting. I think the biggest thing that I've taken from a player is just to trust the process at the end of the day. You know, coming back as a GA, I kind of felt like that my ninth grade self again. Like I looked like I was a $180 lanky kid that only had dreams of playing Division I football and further. So I mean, just being able to trust in yourself and really just starting at the bottom and focus on one step at a time and being where your feet are and just trying to grow as a coach is what I've been doing. But that's the biggest thing that reminded me, and that's why that's why you do the things that you do every day.
Sure. All right, last question. I always love this one. I like to finish on this one too. Name one coach you'd love to work with in the future that you've never worked with. And this could be somebody that, you would work under, or someone you think, you got a little cousin that's like 19 and just starting, maybe you'd hire. So it doesn't matter the level necessarily today, but one person you'd like to work with in the future that you've never worked with.
Man, that was a good one.
Mm-mm.
All the coaches I've named so far, I loved playing for or working with, and obviously being with them. But I'm going to go with an interesting one. I'm going to say Anthony Campanelli. He's the linebackers coach for the Miami Dolphins right now.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is because, and he won't even know this, but we do have a relationship though, and so he coached my brother when my brother was in college at Rutgers, when he was the tight ends coach, and he obviously motivated that group very well, and my brother sent me something. I think it was back when I was in 8th, 9th grade, that time where you're really deciding on do you want to be a Division I athlete? Like, is this the lifestyle you're willing to live? And it kind of just stuck with me. You know what I mean? So,
What was it?
So it was a quote, and it was, and on top of it, I still remember because my brother was like, write it down, man. You got to write it down. So I wrote, believe it. And the whole quote paragraph, but it's, I was not delivered in this world in defeat, nor does failure run through my veins. I'm not a sheep waiting to be prodded by my shepherd. I'm a lion. I refuse to walk, talk, eat, or merge with the sheep, for their thoughts are contagious. Let them join the sheep. The slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. And obviously that's, that it's obviously a pretty dramatical quote and everything, but it kind of just helped me build, that whole alpha mentality of an 8th grader that's trying to get big, isn't seeing, obviously frustrated, isn't seeing the success he wants to see. But I kind of just built my whole lifestyle on that mentality. And that's something that stuck with me for a really long time. I had it written down. I brought it to UConn. It was in my locker in 8th grade. It was in my locker all, senior year of high school, brought it to UConn, brought it everywhere I go. It's on my desk back home in Pennsylvania. But, so that's just something that stuck with me. And I just thought, when you asked that, I just thought, if and he said my brother other things, obviously, but if that could stick with me for that long, why wouldn't you not want to work with someone like that? So that's one that I would definitely want to work with in the future.
I love, what are you, 20, 25, 6?
I'm 25. Yep.
So this is like 12 years ago, and you recited that exact line.
Oh yeah.
Exact paragraph verbatim.
Yep. That was one I said. I read it before every game, and that's just that went into the whole perception of, at the end of the day, you got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and are you okay with what you're doing every single day? So
yeah.
But it was that.
I dig it. Well, let's end it on that. I thought that was a great line. We appreciate your time. Thanks, Luke.
All right, thank you.